What's up guys, Paramoto here. Today I got a pretty special video for you. So I'm out here testing my brand new GoPro Hero 8 Black Edition. Just got in the mail today. Actually very impressed with GoPro's shipping. It took about 2 days to get this camera from them in like Kentucky or something like that, I think is where it shipped. And the second day I had a brand new camera at my front doorstep. So I'm pretty psyched about that. But I'm here to talk to you guys a little bit about nerdy motovlog stuff. Which one's gonna go faster, the truck or the minivan? It looks like the truck today. I don't want to be behind either one of these guys. Alright guys, so for the longest time, the industry standard for motovlogging, if you can even say an industry, is 1080p at 60 frames per second. If you had a camera that was capable of 1080p at 60 frames per second, you were good to go. You could be a motovlogger, and you could be, have just as good a recording setup as anybody else. So times have changed. Technology has just grown by leaps and bounds, as technology tends to do, and now we have options for all sorts of different HD, like 4K, 2.7K. 1080 is still, kind of still industry standard. If you got 1080, you can at least start motovlogging. I would say that you need to step up soon though. What I plan on doing today is I plan on doing the same ride 3 separate times in 3 separate resolutions. So I'm going to start off doing this ride in 4K, and then I want to do the ride in 2.7K, and then I want to do the ride in good old 1080p. This will give us a pretty good idea on which resolution is better. I mean, you could go into it and you can get nerdy. We're starting right now in 4K at 30 frames per second with Super View. I wanted to keep Super View for everything because I always plan on keeping Super View. This camera is capable of doing 4K at 60 in like a wide angle, but not Super View. So just to keep things fair and in the same general angle, I decided to do it 4K at 30 frames per second, and the other two are going to be at 60. We're going to do 2.7K at 60, and we're going to do good old 1080p at 60, and we'll see how things are. Hyper Smooth is on this camera, so hopefully it looks good. I mean, it should look better than the GoPro Hero 6 off the rip, to be totally honest with you. And we're just gonna give this a good old try and just see which one is better. So I don't know about you guys just getting into it, or some of you guys with older cameras, because not all of us have money to step up all the time. You might have an older camera, and this might give you the inspiration to step up. We're a little bit cloudy and overcast today. That might even be a good test for the camera as well. And just kind of testing it between, a little bit of what blue sky looks like, a little bit of what clouds look like, a little bit of mixed lighting. So we'll see what happens. This is also a test for the battery. I ended up with about 50% battery life with the battery that comes with the camera straight up out the box. So I ended up doing a little bit of charging with it, but not really enough to go out and do a vlog all day long. So this will be a pretty good test to see how much battery life gets taken as well in the different modes. I do have a spare GoPro battery with me. It's not a GoPro Hero 8 battery, so it might not last that long. I'm gonna have to go get some extras, but we're gonna go down, we're gonna hit up my favorite road 3 separate times, which I'm super excited about, and we're gonna see how everything looks. I know there's gonna be some of you guys that'll be like, oh, your angle's all messed up. This looks weird. Obviously it looks weird. It's a brand new camera. Give me a break. Right off the rip, one thing that I don't like about this camera is the fact that the battery door exposes everything, not just the USB-C slot. So I have this rig right now that's kind of janky. I have the battery door almost totally out with a piece of gaff tape keeping everything in, and if the battery decides to fall out, the battery's just gonna fall out, and I'm gonna be screwed. I'm gonna lose a $20 battery on the first ride. I don't really like that. I do have the media mod coming. That should be here Monday at the latest. I haven't really checked anything. I am doing a little bit of the dodges and weaves to see how this thing looks. There's a little bit of there's different modes that you can select with this camera, where you can do like a horizon stabilization, where like literally the horizon stays like perfectly flat and everything else moves around it, which I think that might be cool, but it might not be. I'm not really sure. That might be more of a toy to use, but not like an everyday kind of thing. I'm excited to get a new camera. I'm excited to be back at motovlogging, to be honest with you. Like, I've been out of a traditional motovlog for at least 2 weeks now. It's been hard, man. It's been hard not having a mic set up, so you can't motovlog. No, it's something that I always do, and not having that is kind of a bummer. It's just crazy. I've had some things happen where I've had plenty of time to go out and make vlogs and whatnot, and I haven't been able to. Haven't been able to because of, you know, camera stuff. So hopefully that's over for the time being. Man, I love this bike. Alright guys, that does it for the 4K run. I'll see you guys at the top of the hill for the next run. Alright gents, so round 2. This gentleman was just talking to me about his 97 929 Ducati. I don't know much about the 929s, but I'm gonna have to look it up now. I wish I had a spam card. I could give it to him so we can hook up later, but right now we were trying to beat some weather. So second test, same starting location. We right now are at 2.7K, which is better than 1080p, 60 frames per second, super view, hyper smooth on. We are gonna see how this ends up being. And again, we're stuck behind trucks. I don't know where all these trucks are coming from. I haven't ridden this bike in like a week, and like my wrist feels like I got crazy carpal tunnel going on right now. That whole superbike posture is starting to get to me. I'm getting old. Actually, I'm already old. I got a real bad case of the early 30s. All right, finally. Jelly bean. That's what those Teslas look like. They look like jelly beans. I'm not sorry. Let's see. People are slow. All right, the wonders of having a super bike, man, I love it. So it used about 20% battery. However long that trip was, probably 10 minutes at least, it used about 20% battery. Keep in mind that this battery was not fully charged, and typically batteries are better in the upper range rather than in the lower range. I think batteries are basically like diminishing returns in that regard. So I'm hoping that the battery is actually better once it gets a full charge in it, and we don't end up with some dead air here. But I do have a spare battery in my pocket. We'll probably end up having to switch it out for the next run. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. So I've heard the GoPro Hero 8 needs to have the GoPro Hero 8 specific battery, the one with the blue on the bottom, or not all of the features will work. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true. We're gonna try it out. Honestly, I think that's kind of BS, because the older GoPro batteries are in fact lithium-ion. They're very good batteries, and to have a camera-specific battery, I think is kind of crappy on the part of GoPro. But I mean, that's probably where they make most of their money, is all the accessories and stuff like batteries and cases and mods, and that's why they've gone to the mod route, you know. I'm trying to look around a lot and trying to test out this hyper smooth, because I feel like on the GoPro 6 it gets real shaky when you do that kind of stuff. So it's kind of like you had to use your head as a gimbal. You know, it's got a gimbal and basically software now, which is, I think, really cool. And I'm kind of like whining about like, oh, like I gotta buy new batteries and, you know, like whatever. I mean, the cameras are just absolutely amazingly fantastic. So I mean, like from what they give you in such a teeny tiny package, I mean, you just got to be thankful and just appreciate what they can do for you now. Holy crap, there's a ton of cops out today. More cops. And I'm out here unsafely passing people and exceeding the speed limit. Welcome to Mexico. This whole video was shot in Mexico for any law enforcement watching. Paramotor 959 is an international organization headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland, which is totally out of the realm of being sued by just about anybody. So FO. All joking aside, this is actually the mode that I'm most curious about how it looks. 1080p has been really good to me for the last 260 videos. I've always had that kind of chip on my shoulder, like, you know, it's not 4K. You need to get into some higher HD, guy. And I shot a couple things in 4K, and you couldn't really notice the difference that much. And to be totally honest with you, the rendering time was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you're talking about, you know, a 10 or 20 minute video in 4K takes 2 hours to upload. And it's like, if I'm out there traveling and not having great internet access, that's an issue. I won't be able to upload unless I shoot in 1080. So I don't know. I've heard some things about like down rendering or whatever, where like you shoot in 4K but then you upload in 1080, and like there's a debate about whether or not more pixels is better or the quality of pixels is better. And like this is some of like the camera geekery that I've been actually researching since I've had to be forced to upgrade. And there's cinema cameras that are actually widely known to be the best cinema cameras out there, and they shoot in 2K. Yeah, they don't take the most pixels, but the quality of them is just so much better. It's called like the Alexi or something like that. Alexi Uri or Uri Alexi or something like that. But I mean, anyway, it's a really nice cinema camera. And man, I hope it doesn't rain. If it starts raining, I'm gonna have to shut it down, man. Like I can't afford to corrode the pins on this camera already. That is the reason why the GoPro Hero 6 ended up having to be retired, is that the connections of the USB-C port ended up going bad, and GoPro does not fix them at all. So it's really lame, to be totally honest with you, that you won't fix a connector. You know, literally, you have this camera that can shoot in 4K, is amazingly robust, but is worth nothing because a single connector went bad. It's just a shame. It's just a serious shame. These clouds don't look too bad. My visor is polarized, so it makes everything look a little bit worse than it is. A little bit darker, I should say. Not worse. It actually makes everything look better, but it makes it look darker, like the clouds are more ominous. I'm trying to speed this up, get around this little eco crap box. And there's a cop ahead. This is actually a super fun road without the fuzz being present. That's it for this run right here. The next run we're going to do at 1080p, 60 frames a second in Super View again. So this is all with hyper smooth on. So I'll be totally honest with you, this could literally look just like night and day difference versus 1080p on my GoPro Hero 6. So I'm actually very intrigued to see what this is going to look like. Alright guys, last run. Guys, one thing I want to note here is that this camera and its settings are basically straight out of the box. I don't know everything about them. The camera could probably do better than what I'm displaying right now, but this is just basically out of the box. What can you get out of a GoPro Hero 8? So this particular take is 1080p, 60 frames a second, hyper smooth is on. So after the last take, I did take it upon myself to switch over batteries. There's a couple things to tell you guys about switching over batteries. Number one, the battery door popped off and like hit my gas tank, which I didn't really appreciate because it comes off just that easy. I'm not sure I really like that. I kind of wish it was a little bit more sturdy, but it is what it is. I didn't design the thing. It's not my fault. Don't blame me. Another thing is that the battery seems to be pretty stout, to be honest with you. I did get a little note. I did have to switch out the battery after the last one because literally we went from about 50% to about 30% shooting about 10 minutes in 4K, and then we went from about 30% to 15% shooting in 2.7K, which I would actually probably qualify 2.7 and 4K as like hyper HD. It's a lot of information all at once. There's a lot of things going on. It's going to take up a lot of battery. It seems like when you go down in resolution, you save about 5% of battery life over about 10 minute span. So we went from 20 to 15 to, we probably could have gotten away with a 1080p running at 15%. We probably could have gotten away with our last run here, but to be honest with you, I just didn't feel like risking it. The 1080p still works at 60 frames a second with hyper smooth on with GoPro 6 battery, so that's good. That's a good news. But I did get a notice that not all features are available with this specific battery in. So I don't know what those features are. I'm not using them though, but it is something to note that is actually true, that you do not get all of the features out of your camera when you switch to an older battery. I don't know if the newer ones are just that much better. and all this special fancy dancy stuff will just kill them. I don't really know. That's probably for a GoPro exec to answer, or somebody that knows a little bit better, but you know, it was just something to note. We'll say another thing that happened with this camera straight out of the box is that it didn't want to connect to the app right away. Something I used to do with my GoPro Hero 6 when it was working fully is every single time I'd go out, I'd shoot a test clip, and I would do that on the app. It takes an extra minute or two, but it's worth it just to know that your audio is working and that you're not going to have a dead vlog. I don't know about your uses, but us motovloggers out there, oh my god, audio is always your weak link. You'll work all day on a vlog, and then all of a sudden none of your audio works. The vlog is garbage. Like the last 2 videos I made of my Hero 6 before I found out that it was broken. I probably need to make a video about that, just to explain what was going on with it. But I will say one thing to check before you buy a bunch of those dongle things. Just go into your camera after you plug it in and check your A/O outputs. That's your input outputs, and see if it recognizes it. Because if it doesn't recognize that you have a dongle plugged in, then it's not going to recognize your microphone. So if you buy a bunch of different dongles, they're going to work basically equally crappy, or just not at all. So, you know, that's something to check before you buy a bunch of things to get worked up over it. I don't know what's up with these trucks. Like every single run I've gotten stuck behind a truck. I mean, it is like 3 o'clock on a Friday, so there's a lot of traffic, but still, damn. I just want to know what this looks like with Hypersmooth on. Let's do some up and downs, and you know, like, oh, I'm talking and shaking my head like I do because I'm like an Italian talker, because I kind of am when I make a motovlog. Does Hypersmooth smooth all that out? We'll find out. Oh, hard stop. I'm a dick. I want to do one good pull down this road. An increased presence of the fuzz over here in Tijuana lately, so we'll see what happens. This makes me want to do a track day. It really does. Guys, that's it for the runs. That was our last run. We did 4K, 2.7K, and that last one was in full 1080p. So, do a quick little analysis on the L computer, and I will get back to you on what I'm going to decide to use on my channel and what my thoughts are about all this. I'm glad that we beat the weather, and I'm glad that I brought an extra battery with me, to be totally honest with you.
Hey guys, Paramoto of the Future here. So after reviewing all the video files that we made this day, I really was surprised about the quality of 2.7K. It almost looked like the most crisp picture, along with having, you know, better battery life and, you know, better life of your memory cards. So it really kind of hit all the buttons between having, you know, solid battery life, solid life on your SD card, and also having really crisp, good looking pictures. I'm still going to go back and I'm going to tinker with 4K, and it's going to be an ongoing project that'll be, you know, kind of a labor of love. But you know, going forward, I mean, I think my default setting is probably going to be 2.7K, 60 frames per second with Super View on. It was definitely standout amongst the 3 settings. I also went back and looked at some of the older videos. It's shot in 1080 60 without Hypersmooth on a GoPro Hero 6, and even the 1080 on this new camera is just leaps and bounds better. If you go back to even just last month, I mean, it's just, this camera blows the GoPro Hero 6 just out of the water in quality. You know, I'm just really excited to start using all the features of this camera and really taking the channel to like the next level in production values. Anyways, I'll let you get back to me being a dumbass on the streets.
Street Rossi, deuces.